of the light. So, someone asked me, when we move to the fifth, will our counterparts, our parallels, take our place in the third density? It's a little bit confusing, but I believe what they're asking about is their parallel lives. So if anyone doesn't understand this, prior to you moving into the fifth, all those parallel lives and all the other timelines, they're all closing. Because they are all you. They're all becoming you. You're becoming all of them. Here's a way to understand. If we understand the dimensions, we can understand the first three dimensions as lines, right? Length, width, and height. And then we often hear that time is the fourth dimension, okay? And they represent this, generally mathematically, with a fourth axis, a line, okay? But when they represent it, they generally represent it, squarely. Like you have the three lines forming a 90-degree angle, and then they put the other one out so that they're all equilaterally spoked. You understand what I'm saying? But it's not actually like that. The fourth dimension of time runs like perpendicularly out from the other three. So if you have the three spatial dimensions, like going like in a triangle kind of this way, the three spatial dimensions, and then coming out at the point out of the apex of the triangle, you have the fourth dimension of time. You understand? So that the three dimensions can be met at any point along the dimensional stream of time. It moves, it intersects. Understand? Okay. The fifth dimension, though, when mathematicians represent it, will often again represent this with a line. However, this doesn't work. It is not mathematically, it is not a line. The fifth dimension is a circle radiating out from the center that encompasses all of them. So the fifth dimensional space is a circle encompassing all the other points. It intersects. That's how its dimensionality actually works. It can't be represented in a line. It permeates all the other four dimensions, time and the three spatial dimensions, from every position that a three-dimensional spatial intersection can be had with a time is encompassed by the fifth. So your fifth dimensional version of yourself is yourself with every aspect of every life and every other parallel incarnation, which just means whenever you didn't like an outcome, whenever you as a soul didn't like an outcome, that means you took it and played it another way, somewhere else. We have other playgrounds we can play in, That's where we go when we dream, in the fourth. And there are just less souls playing in those playgrounds. But if we want to play things other way, we can. But that's still our energy, so all that has to be brought back. So if we understand, for instance, if we look at a two-dimensional being and we compare that to a three-dimensional being, the two-dimensional person cannot understand the three-dimensional person, at least not very easily, right? And only in a limited kind of way. So because the two-dimensional person only has width and length, but no height, no depth, then they would not be able to them, if they lived inside of a box, they would not be able to understand how you came through the top. Like to you, you could just say like, "Oh, why don't you just go there?" like that. But to them, they would have no idea how you did that. It would seem like they were in an impenetrable box with no entrance, and you were just able to come in. They would not be able to understand the mechanics of how you operated at all. And if they saw you, they would only be able to see a section of you at a time because they have no depth. They can't perceive depth. So in the same way, if you try to understand how much less the two-dimensional person's experience of reality and depth of reality is compared to the three-dimensional experience, then you should start to be able to grasp the dimensionality being added to you as you go to the fifth. How much fuller of an expression your fifth dimensional self is from your third dimensional personality. It's every version of you. It's every version of you that's ever lived in every timeline, brought to peace, brought to harmony, brought to acceptance, brought to unity, brought to love.